Hello there, everybody. If you've seen my last, vlog on the Give An Easy channel, you know that I lost a good friend of mine to suicide, and I I've been having some troubles. I'm still at a very, very good place in my life for the past 15 months or whatever. It's still the best phase of my life, but this was very upsetting to me. It's the first time there's lots of people lost in the community this way, and I've known lots of friends who've lost friends. But the first time I've lost a close friend, uh, I think it didn't have to be this way. But again, I'm not judging too much because I have been on the ledge so many times myself, and most recently, even in 2020, was ready to uh, go through euthanasia. So fuck, I know what it's like, and I, I can't say that I'll ever be free of the specter of suicide until I die of natural causes, right? So I don't know. It's terribly sad and heartbreaking, but I think that we can still remember the good things about people to pay them the right tribute and respect. So I hope that I have done that. This is a quite long piece, so please stick with me, and I hope John's okay with this and that he thinks that I've done him right. And this goes out to John Mackay and all the people who knew and loved him. It's called, I think, properly, The Ballad of John Mackay. My friend was far too young to be memorialized, but I shall do my best to do his 43 years justice, even though I only knew him for a while. Johnny was a child full of imagination, who knew right from the start that school usually just turns out employees, but believed his friend had a time machine. Wouldn't you rather travel through time and see how it really was, instead of reading the lies told by the winners, brought to you by someone who would prefer to be doing almost anything else? Years later, I got a wonderful shock when he told me he had just enrolled in agricultural school. If I had to bet on anyone who would be less likely than me to ever attempt formal education again, the only cat I could think of would be John Mackay. It didn't work out, but at least he tried. Despite his total disdain for structure and systemization, John loved his family, his friends, and his loves. He had many a fine time. I once told him, Johnny, I'm giving up on society, but not on people. He thought that sounded right. John's adventurous spirit knew no bounds. He once hitchhiked with a sign that read, Going to Mexico. He made it as far as San Francisco and became ensconced with a woman many years his senior. His wise old soul often sought the companionship of people mature enough to understand the complexity and depth, his complexity and depth, pardon me. But I'm not so sure he ever felt understood. How can they love me if they don't get me? I think a piece of real bad luck may have set in motion the beginning of John's demise. In the aftermath of Juan, a group of young cowards swarmed my friend and rained down a hurricane of hatred that left him near death. If it hadn't been for the courage of a dear friend screaming, I know your mothers, they might have beat him to death. John was like a cowboy in the hospital, but his friends knew he wasn't okay. Perhaps people can recover from the trauma of an attack, but can anyone ever really come back from massive blows to the head? Young people of my community, I know life often stacks the deck against you and that you have had some real bad times, but that can't be an excuse to attack innocent strangers. If this is what your friends do, they are not your friends. Tell all their mothers. There is no dishonor on snitching on them, because those stitches could ruin someone's life. I met John 4 years after his attack, and at least on the surface, he had bounced back with gusto. He was the reverse Jonah, a modern man who wanted to stay in his whale, a beautiful portable sleeper trailer barely big enough for him, perfect for someone who saw things differently and believed in a better world. Everyone remembers you for the whale because no one else did anything like it, camping out in yards and doing odd jobs for folks in exchange for access to their amenities. It was an incredibly powerful 9 to 5 alternative. I wish it could have been prototyped and you could have made a fortune because then we'd probably still be visiting. Maybe someone can take that idea and make it work now, but I wish you could tell me where the money should go. I enjoyed our visits so much. There was lung relieving Johnny Blades and all of our dreaming and scheming about how things were so terribly wrong, but had the potential to be so much better. I'll never forget Hotbox in Dana's hotel room and how I talked my way onto the show. He took me to meet her so that I might get a little further along in comedy, and how you were ultimately right that there would be better things for me. Without you, I would have had a much harder time moving into this apartment, and I wouldn't have got that electric recliner if you hadn't turned your truck back from the highway home. It brings me so much joy to think of all our great conversations, but so much pain to know we will never have them again. One of the last times I asked you if life was more or less precious because of its brevity. Neither of us had a clear answer. I was happy to see you get that house in Pictou. It was a great place to shoot a movie. I wish it had become the artist center you had talked about. But looking back, it might have been the first step toward giving up. It was a place to cocoon with no goals. I'm not judging because I have given up before and I know how it feels. I felt like a loser, and the shame and self loathing were so profound. I nearly killed myself for several years. Being an artist and having projects is the only thing that saved me. And I think that might have been able to save you too. But it's not that simple. With only marginal success, the world won't let you be who you are supposed to be. And that can be a very bitter pill to swallow and a very understandable reason to throw in the towel. But if you don't fight back at some point, you cease to live. The battle is all we have, so we must continuously fight for our lives. I still can't measure the full impact of all the pain I might endure. I've had plenty to this point, and I might still throw in the towel someday myself. But for now, I am the happiest I have ever been, and I wish I could have shown you all the wonderful things that could still happen. But for the next while, I hope you have 106 winged angels making you feel loved and important. You can get well and strong, come back to life when you are ready because the world needs people like John Mackay to show it that the way things are could be so much better. Folks, if you're on the ledge, a lot of people preach mental health services, and if that's good for you, um, great. But if you have somebody that loves you, reach out to them and have them tell you how important you are, and how loved you are, and how missed you would be if you were prematurely gone. Much love, Johnny. I hope you get well and strong again someday. And I hope I see you again someday. Okay, bye for now.